It started with a tweet. 7 words. She talks tough, but ain't that bright. He hit send. And the timeline caught fire. But what he didn't know was that Jasmine Crockett wasn't built for back and forth. She was built for demolition. Silent, deliberate, strategic. And in 36 seconds, she would end his entire argument without even speaking. Jasmine Crockett was not an influencer. She was not trending for makeup tips. She was not hosting brunch podcasts. She wasn't trying to be likable. She was a congresswoman, a civil rights attorney, a legal sniper who didn't waste bullets on bait. She wasn't known for clapping back. She was known for receipts. Public ones. Court-admissible ones. Which made what happened next all the more precise. The setting, a bipartisan policy summit in D.C., supposed to be neutral ground. Think tanks, scholars, politicians, and one former president, Donald J. Trump. He wasn't scheduled. He demanded to be added. The organizers folded. Because cameras follow him, even when facts don't. If you are enjoying this confrontation, tell us where you are watching from. And the time, let's see how far we can spread the truth. Crockett didn't flinch. She took her seat. Next to him, the moderator tried to break the ice. Asked about civility in discourse. Trump grinned. Leaned in. I don't know about you, but it's hard to be civil when you got people pretending to be smart just because they use big words. You know, some people read cue cards and think they've got brains. But real smart folks? They build towers. They make billions. They don't just talk, they win. He didn't look at her. But everyone else did. She didn't blink. Didn't move. Then she reached into her black leather folder. Pulled out a sealed envelope. Laid it flat on the table. Pushed it 1 inch forward. Her voice? Cold. This is my IQ test score. Standardized. Evaluated. Verified. The same test used for CIA intelligence vetting. Scored 99.8th percentile. Pause. If you'd like to compare. I brought a second envelope. Blank. Ready for your result. The crowd stilled. Trump laughed. Not from the belly. From the throat. Tight. You've got jokes, he said. Cute little stunts. I don't do tests. I do deals. She folded her hands. Didn't respond. Before we go on, remember this. Black history isn't always loud. But it's always real. Follow Black Untold stories. The silence they ignored, we document. The clip hit social media within the hour. It didn't go viral. It detonated. Crockett drops IQ bomb on Trump. The envelopes. Your move, Donald. People posted screenshots. Analyzed her posture. Zoomed into the seal on the envelope. Trump ranted on Truth Social. Another political stunt by another radical. Probably fake. Probably written by Soros or Obama. Crockett said nothing. Didn't tweet. Didn't repost. She just changed her banner photo on X to a zoomed-in image of the envelope. Unopened. Unbothered. Days passed. Supporters on both sides turned it into a culture war. Trump fans called it elite theatrics. Crockett's base called it a masterclass in restraint. Then something strange happened. Stanford's Institute of Human Intelligence released a letter. Not anonymously, officially. It confirmed that Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett had received the highest IQ score among all U.S. public officials tested in a decade. Confirmed by 2 independent neuroscientists. Test administered under camera. Scoring verified. 3 evaluators. 1 conclusion, exceptional cognitive performance. Still, she didn't say a word. She posted a photo. The same envelope. Now, with the caption, still unopened. Meanwhile, Trump doubled down. Called her phony brain lady. Posted a meme of her head photoshopped onto Einstein's body, holding a fried chicken wing. It backfired. Even some right-wing hosts started asking, if you're smarter, just take the test. He refused. Said the test was probably rigged. Said real genius can't be measured. Said nobody's asking Elon Musk to take one. Elon Musk responded with a thumbs up and the words, already did. 155, public record. Now it was just Trump. And the envelope. Then came the Texas Town Hall. A special event. Unscripted. No teleprompters. No teams. Just microphones and questions. Crockett was asked if she'd confront Trump again. She replied, no need to confront a man who's already cornered by the truth. He asked for the spotlight. I brought the bulb. Then mid-event she stood. Reached into her folder. Pulled out the envelope. Held it for exactly 3 seconds. Then laid it face down on the moderator's table. Didn't say a word. Sat back down. That clip looped for hours. The caption that trended. She's still waiting. There's a silence that isn't empty. It's not the absence of sound. It's the presence of tension. Dense. Heavy. Waiting to crack. That was the silence in the room when Jasmine Crockett stood up and picked up the envelope. Not a word spoken. Not a gesture made. And still, the room was louder than ever. It was supposed to be a press luncheon. Mild questions. Polite applause. Watered-down jokes and chicken salad. But then someone asked, "Are you ever going to open the envelope?" Crockett didn't smile. Didn't blink. She reached under the table. Pulled out the now iconic envelope. Edges slightly curled. Seal still intact. She held it up. Then said 2 words. "Is he watching?" A camera operator confirmed. Trump was live streaming the event from his Mar-a-Lago office. He was watching. Loudly. With a room full of donors and unpaid interns. Crockett nodded once. And unsealed the envelope. It wasn't dramatic. She didn't rip it. She didn't flash the contents. She slid a single sheet of paper out. Thick. Cream-colored. Official letterhead. Then she read. Word for word. In the same flat tone she uses during congressional hearings. This letter certifies that Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett achieved a full score of 135 out of 138 on the International Cognitive Evaluation Exam, placing her in the 99.8th percentile of global participants. She paused, then continued. Additionally, her strategic reasoning score placed her in the top 0.1 percentile, the highest recorded in the United States among elected officials since standardized tracking began in 1972. Another pause. Verified by 3 independent evaluators and reviewed by the National Board of Intelligence Measurement. She folded the paper, placed it back inside the envelope, and set it down beside her glass of water. Then she looked into the camera. Flat. Calm. Direct. "Your move, Donald." Across the country, people reacted in real time. Clips went viral. Again. But this time, there was no doubt. No speculation. No mystery. The envelope had spoken. Even conservative media couldn't ignore it. One headline read, "Trump challenger turns tables. IQ score stuns panel." He didn't respond right away. For once, silence came from him. That silence lasted 7 hours. An eternity in Trump time. Then, at 3:14 a.m., he posted, "These tests are garbage. Nobody takes them. The best IQ is instinct. And mine is perfect." Underneath, Crockett simply replied, "Noted. Still waiting." Trump's team scrambled. They released a blurry photo of an alleged test result. The watermark didn't match. The test name was misspelled, and the score was suspicious. IQ score, 156, certified. The internet tore it apart in seconds. A parody account recreated the same fake test with a crayon. Within hours, hashtags flooded the platform. Hashtag certified. Hashtag fake genius. Hashtag envelope strikes back. Crockett said nothing. She posted a single emoji. Receipt. 3 days later, the pressure boiled over. At a Florida rally, Trump finally addressed it again. He called her Congresswoman Calculator. Said her score meant nothing. Said the real test was building hotels and winning elections. Then he challenged her. Live. Unscripted. "I'll take your little test. Right now. Let's go." Live TV. You and me. The crowd erupted. But the camera caught something else. His hand was shaking. Jasmine didn't go live. She didn't rant. She didn't retweet. She faxed a letter. Yes. A fax. To every major network. It read, "Dear Mr. Trump, your offer is accepted. The test will be administered publicly by independent experts from the National Cognition Council. Date and time you're choosing. Live broadcast. I'll be there. Sincerely, Representative Jasmine Crockett." Attached was her signed waiver. Public test clearance. Already notarized. She was ready. He wasn't. Back-channel reports said Trump's team begged him to back out. They said it wasn't worth it. They said he had nothing to gain. He ignored them. Scheduled the test for Wednesday. Live on his own streaming platform. He called it the Intelligence Showdown. Crockett called it Wednesday. The day arrived. 2 podiums. 2 chairs. 2 sealed packets. Live stream. 8 million viewers. A bigger audience than the Super Bowl pre-show. Jasmine arrived 6 minutes early. Trump, 11 minutes late. He made a joke about fashionably late winners. She didn't respond. The test was timed. 60 minutes. Same questions. No assistance. Full transparency. The cameras rolled. Crockett kept her focus. Minimal movement. Eyes on the paper. Steady. Trump scribbled. Looked up. Frowned. Sipped Diet Coke. Asked if he could skip the boring ones. The proctor said no. Exactly 62 minutes later, the results were submitted. They would take 36 seconds to tally. 36 seconds. Jasmine sat upright. Hands folded. No emotion. Trump leaned back. Whispered something to an aide. Wiped his forehead. The timer hit 0. A bell rang. The results came in. And everything changed. The moment had no music. No dramatic cut. No narrator counting down from 10. Just silence. And 2 scores. Side by side. Broadcast live. Unedited. Unavoidable. Jasmine Crockett looked at hers. Then at his. Then at nothing all. Trump stared at both. And the numbers didn't lie. Jasmine Crockett. 133 out of 138. Verified. Signed. Stamped. Top 0.2 percentile. Donald Trump. 89 out of 138. Also verified. Also signed. Also stamped. Below average. The silence was immediate. Then came the murmurs. Then came the full, deafening avalanche of public reaction. The live chat imploded. People didn't know what to type first. Some didn't type at all. They just watched in shock. The test proctor read the results aloud. Exact scores. Exact ranking. Trump shook his head. Then laughed. A dry, hollow sound. Doesn't mean anything, he muttered. Numbers are just numbers. But they weren't just numbers. Not anymore. The media swarmed. Headlines spun faster than the live stream ended. Crockett crushes Trump in IQ test. Silence of the self-proclaimed genius. She brought the receipts. Trump left the room without comment. He exited through the side. Didn't speak to press. Didn't wave. His security detail looked more like a retreat team. Crockett? She walked out through the front. Alone. Envelope in hand. No words. She didn't smile. She didn't gloat. She just left. That night, the memes began. One showed Trump holding a participation ribbon. Another showed Jasmine photoshopped on Mount Rushmore. Her mouth sealed shut with the caption. She didn't need to yell. Number 133. Hashtag IQgate. Hashtag envelope queen. 3 different hashtags trended globally. For 48 hours. Late-night hosts ran entire segments without writing a single joke. They just replayed the footage. Raw. Uncut. The silence said everything. Inside Trump's camp, chaos reigned. His advisors were split. Some wanted damage control. Others wanted denial. He posted a video the next day. Sweaty. Tired. Rambling. This test, it was rigged. People know. Everyone knows. I've been told by many that the real smart people, they don't even take these things. They do business. They build buildings. They have instincts. He tried to reframe it, claim he took it to prove a point. He said Jasmine Crockett was probably coached, that she had the answers. No evidence. No logic. Just noise. Jasmine posted nothing. Didn't acknowledge his response. Didn't give it oxygen. Instead, she flew back to Texas, returned to her district, attended a community cleanup, posted a single photo, her holding a trash bag. Caption, cleaning up as usual. It went viral. Again. Now, the headlines changed. No longer versus Trump. Now it was, who was Jasmine Crockett? Profiles poured out. Her past as a civil rights attorney. Her early days in public defense. Her no-nonsense interrogations during committee hearings. Her refusal to yield the floor. Her consistent command of facts, without theatrics. People started comparing her to Obama, to AOC, to Michelle even. But her tone stayed the same. Cold. Precise. Unbothered. When asked by CNN if she considered herself a genius, she replied, "No, just prepared." Meanwhile, cracks began to show in Trump's world. Former allies distanced themselves. Fox News ran a panel where even the friendly hosts couldn't defend him. One asked bluntly, "If he says he's a genius, why couldn't he prove it?" Another said, "It's not just about intelligence. It's about judgment." And his judgment was to challenge Jasmine Crockett. Donors grew quiet. Merchandise sales dipped. Petitions began circulating, calling for a competency clause in presidential eligibility. They called it the Crockett Clause. In one particularly surreal moment, a high school civics textbook publisher announced a new case study, how silence, strategy, and sealed envelopes rewrote the rules of political optics. It featured her photo, envelope in hand. Subheading, Jasmine Crockett versus the myth of loud leadership. Then came the invitation. Harvard, commencement speaker. She declined. Instead, she sent a short letter. "I'm honored, but I'm not done working. There are still bills to pass, lives to defend, and facts to carry. Thank you. JC." People framed that letter, posted it everywhere. Some just wrote JC on white paper and taped it to their laptops. A new symbol, a new voice, a quiet thunder. Trump attempted a countertour, branded it common sense over test scores. The first stop was in Ohio. The crowd was thinner than expected. The energy was fractured. He mentioned Crockett once, called her boring, then quickly moved on. But the damage was visible. He wasn't feared. He was fact-checked. Jasmine Crockett returned to the Capitol. Same walk, same folder, different weight. She passed a reporter who asked, "Congresswoman, what's next?" She paused, turned, said flatly, "He tried to measure me. Now I'll measure what matters. Legislation, accountability, truth." Then she entered the chamber, still holding the envelope. The thing about humiliation, it doesn't always end in silence. Sometimes it screams, clawing, thrashing, begging to be noticed again. Donald Trump had been quiet, but silence doesn't suit him. So he did what he always did. He blamed. Then he bragged. Then he broke. After the IQ test defeat, Trump's inner circle shifted. Some jumped ship. Others held on tighter, out of loyalty or fear. But the public? The public watched it all decay in real time. There were cracks in his armor. Not from scandal. From numbers. He had always been the smartest. Now people whispered 89 behind his back. The number haunted him. It showed up in graffiti, on protest signs, on bumper stickers, on TikTok songs with distorted remixes. 89. A new political insult. Trump held an emergency press event. His advisors begged him not to. He called it the Truth Rally. Held it in a warehouse in North Carolina. He spoke for 37 minutes. Said the test was fake. Said Crockett used psychic cheat codes. Said her score was probably AI generated. The audience clapped politely. It didn't hit. He brought out a chalkboard. Tried to solve a math problem. Got it wrong. He laughed it off. But the internet didn't. Jasmine Crockett continued working. No interviews. No sound bites. Just lawmaking. She co-sponsored 3 bills in 2 weeks. Each one passed committee. Her approval ratings jumped 14 points. When asked about the IQ debacle, she replied flatly, "I'm done being measured. I'm building now." That quote made it to a mural in Atlanta. A 30-foot rendering of her with folded arms. The envelope in the background, painted in grayscale. Meanwhile, the political machine panicked. Pollsters saw shifts. Women under 35 swinging left. Black men 18 to 25 more engaged than in a decade. Independent suburban voters leaning toward calm, competence, control. The kind Jasmine exuded like a slow heartbeat. Republicans scrambled. Some blamed Trump. Some blamed the media. One senator said, "We built a party around a man who couldn't open an envelope." That quote leaked, then exploded. Trump fought harder. He hosted a debate, not with Crockett, with a hologram of Einstein. Yes, a hologram. He mocked it, laughed at it, said he beat it in street smarts. The clip went viral for all the wrong reasons. Someone added circus music. Someone else deepfaked Crockett in the audience, yawning. The moment became digital cement, his legacy sinking in it. Jasmine finally accepted a speaking invitation. Not at Harvard, not Yale, a community center in Baton Rouge. No stage, no script, just folding chairs and fluorescent lighting. She stood, took out the envelope, held it one last time, then said, "This paper doesn't matter unless it protects people. Intelligence without empathy is just arrogance." She handed the envelope to a 12-year-old girl in the front row. "You'll know when to open it." Across the country, educators began using her clip. Civics classes, debate clubs, leadership retreats. Her calm tone, her poise, her refusal to retaliate. The story became mythic. A modern parable. The Congresswoman and the envelope. Back in D.C., whispers began. Presidency. Not today. Not tomorrow. But eventually. Journalists speculated. Strategists drafted plans. She was asked about it. Her answer? Not until the table's fixed. No point sitting at a broken table. She said it like a fact. Not a slogan. Not a tease. Just policy. Trump tried one last gambit. He announced a new initiative. Operation Brainstorm. A televised challenge show where he'd prove his intelligence weekly. The first episode featured him solving riddles against a 10th grader. He lost. Blamed the lighting. Donors fled. Polls sank. Advisors vanished. And then it happened. One of Trump's former lawyers leaked an internal memo. It read, Subject, Crockett strategy. We lost the war before it started. 3 pages. Broken down into behavioral analysis. Media strategy. Emotional tone control. It described Jasmine's every move like a playbook. Called it the silence doctrine. Concluded. He challenged her to a test. She tested his entire brand. The world didn't end. The skies didn't part. There was no final explosion. Just fatigue. America was tired. Of noise. Of insults. Of declarations without data. And into that fatigue, Jasmine Crockett walked. Not loud. Not proud. Just present. Not all storms come with thunder. Some arrive in whispers. Slow. Creeping. Final. This wasn't about Donald Trump anymore. It never really was. This was about what happens when the loudest voice in the room gets outthought, outpaced, and outlasted. By the time summer came, everything had changed. The IQ test had faded from headlines, but not from memory, not from history. Jasmine Crockett didn't need to remind anyone. The moment had already sealed itself into political folklore. Trump retreated to Florida, released another book. I was right all along. Ghostwritten, self-published, mostly ignored. He still tweeted. He still ranted. But it echoed now, the sound of a man pacing an empty hallway. Meanwhile, Jasmine kept walking forward. She drafted a bill on ethical standards in political debates. It passed. 86 votes in favor, including some Republicans. One senator said, "After that IQ episode, we can't pretend intelligence isn't relevant anymore." She didn't reply. She didn't celebrate. She was already on the next bill. Networks offered her book deals, documentaries, biopics. She declined. She said, "Let someone else write it. I'm busy writing laws." And someone did write it. A former journalist turned historian, released a book titled The Envelope Doctrine: How Jasmine Crockett Reshaped Power Without Raising Her Voice. It opened with a single sentence. She said 6 words. He never recovered. The book hit #1, translated into 14 languages, assigned in college classrooms. By the next election cycle, Jasmine wasn't campaigning. Others were using her tactics. Measured speech, fact-first arguments, no shouting. Young politicians mimicked her calm. One called it the Crockett cadence. They practiced sounding like her. Steady, flat, focused, not performative, just real. In one moment of odd reflection, a former Trump campaign aide went viral for saying he challenged her to a test thinking she'd panic. But she didn't panic. She prepared. He brought noise. She brought proof. 3 years later, Jasmine stood at the Capitol again. Not in front of cameras. Not in front of crowds. She was attending a memorial. A local activist had passed. No press allowed. No staffers. Still, someone caught a photo. Her in a simple coat. Hands in her pockets. Head slightly bowed. Captioned, "Even when no one's watching, she shows up." That image won a journalism award. The photographer said, "She doesn't pose. She exists like a fact. That's what makes her different." The final echo of the IQ scandal came during a debate in 2028. A young conservative candidate tried to mock a Democratic opponent. Used the phrase, "We don't need brainiacs in office." The moderator paused, then asked, "Are you referring to Representative Crockett's test?" The candidate stumbled, said no, changed the subject. The audience didn't laugh. They just looked tired. The moment passed, but the chill remained. Years later, a public sculpture was unveiled. Jasmine Crockett, mid-step. Not speaking, not gesturing, just walking envelope in hand. The plaque read, "Prepared, not loud." She was asked, near the end of her congressional term, what she wanted to be remembered for. She replied, "Not being memorable, being useful," then walked away. Again, no exit music, no fireworks, just policy and presence. And Donald? He still spoke at rallies, still referenced old scores, still mentioned the envelope. But fewer people were listening. They had heard all they needed. Back when she opened it. Back when silence did the talking. Back when legacy was sealed. Without shouting. He had the mic. She had the mind. One shouted. One showed up. And when it was over, only one was still standing. You've just witnessed what happens when silence isn't weakness. It's strategy. This is Black Untold Stories, where the overlooked becomes unforgettable. Subscribe, because not every story gets told, but we're telling them now.